Hello, welcome to Self-Love Sunday Chat. So my name is Kasia Kolek. I'm a licensed psychotherapist and women's holistic coach, and I have created this space for sensitive and empathetic women to practice very gentle but very radical self-love so that they can build rock-solid confidence and create thriving relationships. And today, we are going to talk about a very uncomfortable, even painful feeling that we sometimes get in our relationships uh, when we feel that we are taken for granted. And for most of us, like it happens in many different kinds of relationships. Yes, in our love relationships, in the relationships with our friends, in the relationships with our different family members, or quite often at work as well. Yes, when we feel like we are not really appreciated, or maybe that our efforts are not acknowledged, we are not valued for what we bring into the relationships. All this kind of stuff that is painful in itself, but also triggers all of the other emotions, yes, like resentment or anger or disappointment quite often. Hi, Hansa, good to see you here. And what happens then, if this situation continues, it quite often steals our confidence and our self-worth even, right? So it somehow underestimates our sense of value if this situation lasts for a long time. So it does have like a far-reaching consequences, right? But I'm sure, like, if you know me even a bit, you know that in the like self-love incubator space, we don't like staying in the place of victimhood, but rather try to empower ourselves, right? And always ask what is our part in creating these situations in relationships. How are we responsible for these patterns that are not very healthy? And of course, like what we can do differently to create more easiness and happiness and just thriving, or allowing the relationship to thrive. So morning, Tara, good to see you. So first of all, like tell me what it means for you to be taken for granted. Like in what kind of relationships or in what kind of situations? How do you even know that that you're not appreciated? What tells you that some things are not right here in terms of like being valued? Yes, or having a good balance between giving and receiving. What are the signs that you notice? Just drop something in the comments so that we can see whether we are like on the same place here. Okay, there's like usually a bit of delay. So before you share this, if you are taken for granted, in your relationships, maybe in one specific relationship, maybe in a few relationships, or maybe you feel like that in all of your relationships, and then suddenly there is something to be done here, then the first question that I would really like you to ask yourself is, am I really taken for granted in this relationship? Tara says, when I'm trying to engage with a family member who won't engage. Okay. Our hands are people who expect you to support them in their time of need, but then not interested in when you are okay. Okay, so there isn't this reciprocity, yes, in this relationship. You give, but you're not getting much in return, right? All right. So coming back to the question, just making sure with yourself always first whether this is actually the case. Because sometimes, our feelings, yes, and I'm sure you know it by now, have not much to do with the reality. Uh, and just give me yes in the comments if you know that sometimes we feel something and it feels really real, but when we do like a little check in whether it is really happening, we might start having some doubts. We perceive the world, we perceive other people, we perceive our relationships through the filter of all our past experiences, yes? And sometimes we see more the story that we are making in our mind than the reality as it is, like in front of our eyes. So, agreed, overthink it, yeah. Assumptions being made that I will be okay with everything. Work, yes, brilliant. That's a great example. It happens at work so often. Right. So the first thing that I would like to have a chat about today is that like we express love and we express appreciation in many different ways. And just think about yourself first. How do you tell people in your life that you appreciate them? How do you show them that they like matter to you, or that you really value that? Because there are like many different ways in which we do that. And one of the best ways to best ideas of putting all this into certain categories was coming from like Gary Chapman. He described 5 love languages. So he was a couples counselor, and he just noticed that within couples, uh, love and appreciation tends to be expressed in 5 main ways. But of course, like it works in many different contexts as well. So there are 5 main languages of love. The first one is words of appreciation, which is like the most obvious one, but also there is the acts of service and giving or receiving gifts. There is quality time, and there is physical touch. So these were the 5 that he described. So words of appreciation is of course like very obvious. Yes, this is all when we just directly use words to say thank you, to say like I love you, to say you really mean a lot to me. Uh, all the compliments that you give to other people. Yes, like your hair looks lovely today. Yeah, I enjoyed our time together today. All this is showing love and appreciation through words. And for some of us, it comes easily, and for some of us, it doesn't. Then there is like showing love through gifts. So, and these doesn't have to be like huge gifts. Yes, it can be like tiny everyday things, like even bringing someone coffee at work. Yes, or making coffee at home. Yes, for your husband in the morning. And of course, like buying flowers that we so often long for in our relationships, or buying birthday gifts. All this is showing love or appreciation through giving or receiving gifts. Then there is acts of service, and this is something that we quite often miss. Usually, just not going into generalizations, but in my personal experience, men are usually much better with showing love through acts of service. So if your husband, fills in your car, like puts petrol into your car, yeah, or takes your car to the mechanic, for him, that can be an act of showing love. Um, all different, little or big services that we can do, like for other people, yes, they might be very meaningful, right? So doing laundry for somebody, or doing the dishes, after dinner, can mean a lot. Then there is quality time, and that's very interesting as well, because if you are used to getting love through quality time, then you might really need undivided attention from people. Yes, you might really need and feel loved and appreciated only if they spend this quality time with you, which means that they really, anything else goes to the side, and they are fully present with you. And okay, so that's this one, and one is missing. Oh yeah, the physical touch, and that might be sex, of course. Yes, it's is a part of that. But apart from sexual touch, yes, all these little gestures like patting on the shoulder or a hug, or holding hands when you go for a walk, or giving you a hug or a kiss goodbye, or a kiss goodnight. All this is showing love and appreciation. And of course, like these are the five main categories. I believe there are like many more. Sometimes we show and receive love or appreciation by common interests. Yes, so if we have something that we really like together with someone else, yes, this can be a great way to share love and appreciation. Sense of humor, even, yes, you might have all these inside jokes, um, all the all the ways in which we show the connection. So if someone tells you about, you know, your mutual memory from the past, if you have some favorite, you know, things or moments or places that you visited together, and someone brings that up, this is also a way of showing love, isn't it? And then it all, the love languages, of course, we learn them very early in our life from how our parents showed us love, how they showed love to each other, to other people in our lives when we were little. So we like soaked it in as little sponges in the past. For me, like, and this can be like very specific to your family. Like for me, I believe that because of all the trauma, like my family went through, we learned, or my parents learned, my grandparents learned to show love through worrying about each other. And no matter, you know, however like unhealthy it might seem, or however unhealthy it really was, it was a way of showing love. So when I got married and was like a really young, I used to really worry that my husband doesn't love me, because he wouldn't knock on my bathroom door, you know, when I was taking a bath. Sorry, he wouldn't knock every 15 minutes to ask me whether I was okay. My mom always did. So I learned that if you really care about somebody, sorry, if you really care about somebody, you would worry about them. You would check with them, you know, whether they are all right, whether they are. Oh, there is something wrong with my throat today. Okay, should be all right. So whether it is, you know, in the bathroom when you're staying too long, somebody needs to knock and check whether you're okay. When you travel somewhere, yes, I still, when I travel, I still text my mom that I arrived safely at my destination, because otherwise she would worry. So I learned that this is the way how people show love, and I did expect it from people in my life, like my first husband, who I had no idea that this even might be a way of showing love. So there is great power in understanding what your love language is. And there is great power of telling people in your life what it is. And there is also great power if in asking people in your life like what their love language is, and giving them love in the way that they really want to receive it. So I'm just curious, just let me know in the comments What are your favorite ways of receiving love? Which of these love languages makes you really loved and appreciated? And also, maybe there is some specific, like for myself, maybe there is some specific way in which you learned to give or to receive love. It's really interesting when we start to explore all this. Hansa says, I usually message them on WhatsApp and say how I appreciate the day or their support. Yes, so this would be like through words. Brilliant. Touch and acts of service. Yes. Yeah. And is it like, have you noticed in your relationships, yes, is there any like discrepancy between sometimes between what you would like to receive or how you would like to receive love and appreciation and how people give it? Because that is what quite often happens, yes, that people give us love and give us appreciation. We just cannot see it because we're looking for something else. So that's always something that is worth checking first, as it all might be just a story that we keep telling ourselves like in our head and can have nothing to do with reality. So that's the first thing. Now, the next thing, again, something that you know very, very well, is another question to ask yourself. Do you take yourself for granted? Like, do you appreciate you? Do you value yourself? And these are very, very important questions, because if you don't, you will always look for validation and approval on the outside. And what's even worse, even if you get it, it will never be enough. So outside validation and outside approval cannot like fill in. Wow, that's really annoying. And I was perfectly okay before I started. Yeah, just bear with me for a moment. My throat obviously needs some tender and loving care. Okay. All right. So the outside validation and the outside approval will never fill in the emptiness that you might feel like inside if you do not give yourself love and appreciation, and if you do not value yourself truly. Okay, honey would be good. Yes, and Jan, Jan even sent me, some very nice practices, videos on YouTube that I can start doing for my voice. It's usually okay. It's something very weird today. Honey, okay. Clove cinnamon sticks. It's great for relieving sore throats. Brilliant. My throat isn't even sore. It was all okay. I think it might be some little thing that fell into it, and it's just irritating me at the moment. But thank you so much. I really now feel appreciated and loved. So thank you so much for this. Okay, so this is something we do like in this inner circle like all of the time, right? But it's just worth reminding again that if you do not like value and love yourself, then you tend to attract into your life or tend to support yourself with surround yourself with people who will prove to yourself to you that you are right, right? So, for example, if someone feels like really not worthy of love, they will have tendency to engage in relationships with people who will prove to them that they are not worthy of love. Yes, and this belief, this pattern is kind of reinforcing itself. So so then in situations like this, you need to always start with yourself. And there is a very nice quote, and I couldn't find the author today, but I just had a note somewhere in my notebook, and it says that staying with somebody who doesn't appreciate you is like standing in quicksand, slowly sinking into sadness. And I think it just, that these are like perfect words to describe what is happening in such relationships. But also, we tend to stay there, sometimes miraculously hoping that we will get what we so desperately need to get without changing anything. And it very seldom happens. So if you find yourself in relationships like this, yes, these two things are at the foundation. First, to do this check in whether this is the reality. Are you living in the stories? Yes, in your head. And then the next one is to start practicing self-love and self-care in a really, really very committed way, right? So, of course, if you're not with us yet in the inner circle and you would need some support or help or tools or great company while doing this, this is like the one of the best ways is just to join us, and we will help you do this. Okay. Why do we keep waiting and waiting? Yeah, we'll come to this in a second, Hansa. Brida, as you speak, Kasia, I'm drinking half a lemon, honey, and 4 slices of ginger in warm water. Morning ritual. Brilliant. So maybe I need to adopt this ritual as well. Now, ginger in this hot weather might be a bit too much. I'm hot already. And I'm like at this age also that I'm getting hot too often, or more often than cold. So ginger sounds a bit scary. But honey and lemon, yeah, I can go for it. Brilliant. And yes, so just about the inner circle for a moment. Yes, we were to go with emotions. Yes, that was our next topic on the list from our poll a few months ago. And but I'm thinking we'll wait with emotions till September. We are still in summer, and August is such a beautiful month. I think we will go with inspiration. So I would really like to focus in August on all the things that inspire us, that make us tick, that make our hearts like light up, and how we can use them, to build ourselves up and to just to live with more joy and passion. So let me know how you like it. Brilliant. So these two things that we mentioned are a foundation. But then I want to tell you about 3 more things that are essential if you notice that in some of your relationships you feel like you're taken for granted. So the first one is, of course, boundaries. And I know we come back to boundaries like a boomerang. Yes, all roads lead to boundaries recently. But that's because this is such a pain point for all of us, sensitive, empathetic women. This is our challenge, to set really good boundaries, and this needs to be our number one priority. Keeping our boundaries should be like for Brida, like drinking, lemon honey and 4 slices of ginger, or like brushing your teeth in the morning or taking a shower, like non-negotiable, automatic, like just a normal part of your psyche hygiene. Without this, we tend to get really entangled and create a lot of pain and suffering in our relationships. So this is something we talked about before. This is something that I talked about on this 2-hour workshop. So if you haven't watched the workshop, if you missed it, there is a link above this video to sign up, and the replay is still available. It will be available today and tomorrow, so you can still watch it. So and of course we will dive much deeper into setting healthy boundaries on our upcoming program, like the 50 days to healthy love. So if this is something you still struggle with, I really encourage you to jump on. But for now, boundaries. If you find yourself in this relationships or situations when you feel not appreciated or not valued, then it's very probable that you are too available or too accessible, right? That you like show up for people at their every whim. And again, it is quite often a sign that you do not value your time, your support, your energy, whatever you bring into the relationship. And whatever you bring into the relationship has become an expectation. Yes, we sometimes give so freely, and we are so available, so accessible to other people, that they start to expect that from us. And that directly leads right to being taken for granted. So another quote that I want to share with you today, and it's coming from Tony Gaskin, is that you teach people how to treat you by what you allow, by what you stop, and by what you reinforce. So, and that's, I think that's like a brilliant quote, because it shows us, like, in a few words, yes, that people learn like very quickly. How you treat yourself, they will treat you in the same way. And also how if you teach them, yes, that you are always available, they will start to expect that of you. If you teach them that you will like drop everything and run to support them, maybe they'll be grateful the first time or the second time, but the third time it will be like a most normal thing for them. And we get used to things very quickly. So that is also like a little mechanism that quite often stands behind, people not showing you appreciation, or not showing you that they really value your support or your help. So the best tip here, yes, is to start to say no more often, and to work on your priorities a bit. That usually helps. And again, watch the workshop if you have trouble with saying no. This is a skill that we like all need to master, really, like not even learn, but master. And then the second thing, and this is what Hansa mentioned, that we wait and wait and wait. We quite often wait and wait and wait because we have our favorite roles that we play in relationships. Yes, so we have patterns and we have roles, and these roles usually have very long roots. So they usually come from our childhood, from what we learned about relationships, about us when we were really little. And we tend to get stuck in these roles. They might be very uncomfortable. We might not like them very much, but they are familiar. Yes, so we feel safe in them. And safety is is your brain's priority. Yes, it's always safety. So whatever is familiar is safe, and whatever is safe and familiar, your brain will push you to stick to it. So we were talking about it, last week, how we get stuck in patterns like this, and what to do, how to break free from all that. And again, not diving deeply into this today, because we mentioned this on the workshop, and also we will do a whole module on this on the upcoming program in August. But for now, I just want to tell you a bit about one of our favorite roles that we quite often choose to play, and this is the role of a caretaker. Like for us, like sensitive, emotional women, we love taking care of people. And in the inner circle in August, we have like Eileen Bennett coming as a guest expert. She's an empowerment coach, and she created empowerment effect method, which is helping women to empower themselves, but also to empower one another, which is a very interesting angle that she takes on things. So I'm really looking towards this call. But she has a term, natural born helpers, which I think is brilliant. Yes, and it kind of catches the idea here. So let's talk about the difference between caregiving and caretaking, because caregiving is a very natural, a very normal, a very healthy part of our adult relationships, right? It is most natural thing in the world that we want to give care to people who are in our lives, especially if they are in trouble, but not only then. And it's beautiful, and we are so good at doing that, right? So we don't want to change that. But sometimes our caregiving changes into caretaking. Now, caretaking is a perfectly appropriate approach when you're dealing with a child. Children need to be taken care of. They are not yet able to take care of themselves. But adults are. Adults do not need anybody to take care of them. They do need a lot of care to be given to them, but they do not, in any situation really, they do not need to be taken care of. Even in situations when they are sick, even in situations, uh, it's very important in situations when we are taking care of our elderly parents, for example, yes, and they become more vulnerable and maybe more dependent on us and less able to function independently in the world. Still, they need a lot of care to be given to them, and sometimes it's just a difference in intention. But if you are able to not take care of them, but give them the care, that makes all the difference to the relationship, that allows them to still stay empowered, right? When we take care of an adult person, we either disempower them or we enable them, usually to do things that are not good for themselves. And the the another difference between caregiving and caretaking is that we give care from abundance. Yes, we give care. It's free giving. It's giving with joy. It's giving from overflow. Yes, it's giving because we want to give. Now, caretaking is a bit different. It's most often comes from a sense of need or from a sense of deprivation, and quite often we take care because we don't know any other way. there is an agenda there. So sometimes we take care of people because we need to be needed. Just to give you a few examples, sometimes we need to be needed. Sometimes it's our subconscious way of indebting other people, yes, of creating this debt that makes us feel safer, that other people won't leave us. Or sometimes it's just a way of controlling others. And we want to control other person because like that again makes us feel safer in a relationship and doesn't require us to be so vulnerable. So there are plenty of hidden motives and plenty of hidden agendas. And anyway, if you assume the role of a caretaker, then being taken for granted is almost guaranteed. Because and maybe you've noticed that sometimes the more we give to a person, if we give from a sense of caretaking, the more trouble they create for us. There is no like gratitude there, and you can understand that in a way, right? Because on the energetic level, we can feel that this is not free giving. And these are all these situations, you know, that I'm sure like you heard from your parents, for example. Yes, I'm giving so much to you and you're so ungrateful. Well, there is an agenda behind a sentence like this and behind this kind of giving always. So this is just one of the roles that we tend to get stuck into. Another is the role of a rescuer, for example, which is similar but a bit different. All of these roles, again, have long roots, again, come from long time ago, and they require a bit of time and practice. And first of all, like a bit of courage to see through our unconscious pattern and the practice and determination to change them. So again, if you notice that you get stuck in certain roles in your relationships, yes, then then the 50 days to healthy love program might be just for you. And then the last one, the last point, the last thing that I want to mention today. And that's very practical and that's very obvious. And we so often like forget about it. No matter what's really going on, whether it is, the story you're making up about not being valued, or whether it is like really happening in your relationship, or maybe it's a mixture of both, because it's usually a mixture of both. The most important thing and the most obvious thing to do is to start talking about it. Yes, to bring it out in the open. So that's the communication, right? Having a very peaceful, a very open, a very vulnerable conversation about how you feel. We so seldom tell people in our life how we truly feel, right? And quite often we tell them in a way that makes it impossible for them to hear. So if you, for example, you are at your wits end, you're so resentful, so angry, you lose it completely, and you yell at your partner, yes, about your needs, there is no chance they will hear you. And also, if you roll your eyes or make faces, if like all those like cliches, like you hover in front of the TV when your partner is watching a match, or you put a laundry basket on the stairs, hoping that they will trip over it, they will not hear you. But having an honest and open conversation at a time when you are at a good place, when you are both available and ready to listen, can change a lot. And so sometimes what we do is like no communication at all because we think they should know. Sometimes it's in indirect communication because they should be able to know or should be able to guess. But neither of these ways brings us any closer to really communicating with another human being. Yeah. So think about, I really encourage you to think about your love language, and then really encourage you as well to inquire, to just simply ask about the love language of people who are important to you, and then see how you may be just very different in what you expect and in what you give, because that creates a lot of misunderstandings and very unnecessary like hurt and pain. And also, I was just having a chat with one of my like one-on-one clients yesterday about the importance of repair. So ruptures are unavoidable in any relationships. Yes, this is just part of life. So there will be times of disconnect, times of conflict, times of misunderstanding, and that's normal and that's healthy. Now, what really matters is how we repair at when these moments happen. And sometimes we simply like withdraw with relationships. Sometimes we give up on them. Sometimes we keep like fighting and fighting and fighting, all in intense emotions. And we kind of forgot that there are easy ways to repair the relationship just by communicating clearly and openly, and allowing yourself to be vulnerable. And this repair part is kind of one of the most important things to master again, to create thriving relationships. And that's something to learn. I know they don't teach this at school, but we can learn these skills, and then can change so much in our relationships. Brilliant. So I think that helps. Again, if you missed the workshop, I really encourage you to have a look. And if that resonates, and if this relationship work is something that would be beneficial to dive more into for you, I really encourage you to jump on 50 Days to Healthy Love. It's a totally new program. It's a total new content. So so I'm really excited and really passionate about this one. And if you are in the inner circle, yeah, I will send you an email anyway. But for those of you who are in a circle and would love to join, there is like an additional €100 discount because you are in the circle already, and being in the circle comes as a bonus to this program. So thank you very much for today. Just a reminder about the breathing circle on Tuesday. So in the inner circle, we're having like breathing circle on Tuesday, as always, on last Tuesday of the month. And this week we are going to do a beautiful loving kindness practice. So I'm really looking forward to that. So have a beautiful Sunday. If you have any more questions or comments, would like to share something with us, just put it in the chat, and I will be seeing you soon. Thanks a million, and bye for now.